Okay.
I was listening to the meeting last week, and you were talking to Keith about when you know who you really are, there's no need to meditate, because who's meditating? And I know I was thinking about that because in the Christian circles, we often call that praying without ceasing.
Yes.
So that's a kind of a constant presence.
Yes.
So I thought that was interesting that you were affirming that last week. And I was also interested in how formless, selfless self operates in with you in the world. Because one of the things you said was it's just hard to explain.
Yeah, it's just, it's just scenes appearing and disappearing. Just like if, now I'm riding the metro into work and we make a lot of different stops, but I don't like put into my memory between this stop and that stop and this stop and that stop and this and that. It's like I get on the metro, I get off the metro. It's the same in everyday life. Scenes are just appearing and disappearing. And this body is just kind of flowing along and very much like the metro.
Mm.
You're not it's like ding ding, it's your stop to get off. Okay. We get up and get off. But there's no like recording of every stop and every, how many stops is it from Greenbelt Metro to Washington, D.C. And I'm not experiencing each of those stops. I'm experiencing basically getting on the metro and getting off the metro. And then I leave it because then the next is, okay, now I'm at work. And then there's working. And there's many things appearing and disappearing, appearing and disappearing. And then, time to go home. And then again, get on the metro, go home. The traveling is not like in memory, and there's no traveler. Okay, we're here, and now we're there, and then we get in the traffic, and we come back, and that's it. And that's the reality when you're not trying to think or hold on to a construct of I am somebody else or I am something, and how the world is relating to me, and how other objects seem to be either interfering with me or enhancing me, which neither is true because you're formless and everything is within you. And again, we go back to dream. Dream's very beautiful. If you're dreaming that you're getting on an airplane and flying to India, you wake up and you're in your bed, but you were just in India. You experienced traveling to India. And yet, wait a minute. It's not true. Even though I dreamt I'm on the plane, I dreamt even you can dream the taxi ride and everything all the way to the ashram and seeing Maharaj, who's no longer in the body. You could be dreaming about that and wake up and you're in your bed in whatever country you're in. And you never left.
Right. Well, I think when all the identification sort of dropped away for you, I was aware of how you were wandering around the city.
Oh yeah.
And you weren't aware of what was happening. Scenes were appearing, disappearing. So that for you, that was maybe one of the first times you really experienced no self. I mean, you were just selfless self.
Well, I was just
wandering around the city. What?
Concentrating on mantra, as Master had said to do, and the body kept walking.
Yeah.
And I walked through different various areas, and there was no judging of good or bad area or what's happening or even the people. It was just like there was no differentiation between myself and what was seen. It was
Yeah.
just because there was no local identification, because mind couldn't sit there and try and impress a local identification because mind was busy with mantra.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And then suddenly it was, oh, evening bhajans are soon and I should get back. And then I had no idea where I was. And I had to get one of those rickshaws to go back to the ashram. And
You
I'd
knew
walked
the
around like 10 miles. It was
you,
like,
you knew the address to the ashram, so you could give it to the rickshaw driver.
well, in that area, when that's kind of funny too, because when I was at the airport, I had landed and I told them, I said, oh, I want to go to Maharaj Ashram in Nashik. And the guy, he told me, he said, we have a lot of Maharaj in let you know. Like, you can't say, I have to go see Maharaj. You have to be a little more specific. And I showed him Selfless Self. And then he got on the phone and called, and then we did make it there. But it was and we did actually stop at another hotel outside of town so he could ask, once we were in Nashik, where is this ashram? But
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I read a quote today. This Argadata said something like, beyond awareness, or without referring to beyond awareness, you go to where there's no cognition. I wonder if that's sort of like where you were at the time.
again, let's not keep saying where I am at or where you are at, because there's no one that is there. You are that. And then all of these, anything you can be aware of is not yourself.
Uh-huh.
Even the sense of existence is not yourself, because you are able to sense this sense of existence. And that's why you hold that sense of presence until the understanding comes that, okay, and first off, if you hold the sense of presence and identify that as yourself, it eliminates all the body, mind, world, all that, because you're formless presence and you're identified this way. But the more you sort of hold that sense of presence, that sense of I am, the sense of existence, the selfless self, just I, there's a turning and there's a knowingness that you're more aware of the awareness than you are the awareness that you're aware of.
Mm-hmm.
And that sounds like Dr. Seuss, but that's like the gist is like and there's nothing there. There's no point where you can say, okay, now this is my experience. Because there's no one there that can claim an experience. There's nothing there that can claim an experience. And then the intuitive understanding is that if I am that, then all of this is within myself. And I'm not separate from anything, because I can't be separate from anything, because there's nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And all these things that I'm aware of, all these scenes that I'm seeing, the seer is formless seer. And that's why Maharaj says the entire world is projected on spontaneous presence.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have to be so wrapped up. And you don't have to keep reminding yourself either, because you know yourself now in a real sense.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not having to impress, oh, I'm knowing myself in a real sense, or I'm losing myself, because you know you can't gain or lose yourself. You are that.
Right.
And the one that can gain or lose is just like in a dream. In a dream, you can dream that you're enlightened, and then you can dream that you've lost this enlightenment. And when you wake up in the morning, neither was true, neither was false. It was in that bubble of illusion. That's why Maharaj says you have to break out of that circle. Break out of the circle of body-based concepts, illusory concepts. When you know you're not body, absolutely the conviction comes, I am not body, I was not body, I'm not going to remain the body. What can stick to you? What can belong to you?
Mhm. No experience, no experiencer.
Exactly. No witness, no witnesser.
Yeah.
Because when we sit there and make a concept of the witnesser or the experiencer, and we say, I am experiencing, no, this is not true. Because of a wrong identification with the body form, there appears to be an experience for something, but not your experience. Again, to dream. You know yourself formlessly creating this form-based dream. You can say you're witnessing the dream, but there is really no witnesser. You're using a form within the dream to experience and move about within the dream that arose formlessly out of your own self. And now understanding this, the waking state and the dream state is absolutely the same. When you know yourself in a real sense, there's no I am awake or I am asleep, or I am dreaming, or I am in deep sleep. These states appear to the false, and you're prior to that.
Or like, how can I witness myself when I am myself?
Yeah, it's not possible.
Mhm.
You can witness other than yourself up to and including the presence, the sense of existence, I exist. Because the illusion of duality is pressed by I exist. Therefore, I can sense this existence. I can sense my existence, but it's my existence. It's not me. And that's where that Gomiji Gomesh comes in, stamping everything. Oh, Gomiji Gomesh, Gomiji Gomesh, the brass door, the brass door. This I, the rascal, who is going and stamping everything and claiming ownership, is not true. And only because it's not investigated deeply is there the belief that it is true. Like it says in the story, when the lawyer said, you know, these documents are perfectly legally acceptable, but they don't have that brass door on them. And so he researched it and he found out that this Gomiji Gamesh guy was of no particular circumstance, no particular power or authority of any kind. He just snuck it in a time where it was very busy, just like birth, when you're experiencing and oh, mom says good boy and don't do this and do that, and you're taking ownership in deeds, just like in this story, this Gomiji Gamesh guy snuck in and nobody started to question it. And now we have met a master, Maharaj, gone through, we're investigating our own selves, just like they investigated the stamp. They found that this stamp is very silly and is nothing. And this I that we have investigated is also silly. There is no I at all. And this is seen through when you know yourself in a real sense. Where can this stamp of I go? If I stamp the space, which is more subtle than anything, with I, then that means everything within it is mine. And therefore, I can't be anything that's there. I'm the one that stamped the I on the space. And it wasn't necessary. To exist, you do not have to know of your existence. And if you know of your existence, then you exist. And you're beyond time and space, so you can't even say, oh, I exist eternally. Well, the knowledge of existence came, but when that knowledge of existence is or is not, the one to whom it has appeared is. Undisputably. Oregon chai. It's not a commercial, but the chai that I had when I was in the ashram in India, I found it. It's so beautiful. This Oregon chai, that creamy kind of thick chai.
Where did you find it?
On Amazon.com.
Oh, uh-huh.
I was looking for herbal teas, and then just a thought came. I like, oh, let me see if they have, because I did that when I first came back to India. Maharaj gave me I got from him several huge bags of his chai. I was so happy, but it ran out, of course, years ago. That was 2015.
Uh-huh.
So I came home and I looked for it, and I couldn't find anything. Lipton that had the chai, it wasn't there. But then just recently, and now I have it again. I'm so happy about that. So
What's the company?
Oregon chai.
Oregon. Uh-huh.
Yep. Chai latte. And it's in the powder where you put the powder in and then mix it. And it reminds me of, yes.
India. Yeah. Sure.
What else does it sort of taste like? Anything?
It's delicious.
Mhm.
It tastes like the ashram right after bhajan. Because in the morning bhajan, we would have it. And then when Maharaj did the afternoon, they would make tea. But in the morning bhajan, Kakadarate, we always had the chai. Right when the lady was singing the Shivo hum.
Mhm.
And see, there's a memory that comes. I can vividly bring this to my awareness without any loss of a me, like without creating anything. And without then saying, well, how can we have memories if we're formless? No, because this is practical spirituality. You're using this body form. Yes, you can recall memory. Yes, you can recall these things. Just like you watch television. You weren't acting in the show, but you can certainly remember different things that appeared on the screen.
But you're not referencing it to anything other than the present experience, I suppose.
Well, all of this, every time, whether you know yourself in a real sense or not, the only way you can talk about your past is in the present, right now.
Right.
There's no way to like get lost in it. You know, even if you mentally got lost in the past, you're still here now. Like there's no.
But so that, I mean, somebody could say that's a type of identification, but it's not the same. It's not the same identification that I have where I refer to myself, where I keep referring back to myself.
Well, I went to India. I saw Maharaj, and I very much understand. And even at that time, I know, although that experience all happened within my own self, there was at a time a local identification of a traveler traveling and a surrenderer surrendering. And the concept that Maharaj was God, as far as I understood God. And then I started to understand when Maharaj said, you are not body, you are not body, you're not going to remain body. This sense of presence is myself and yourself and all the selves. So there's no separation. There's no master, there's no disciple. As Maharaj used to say, he has to step down and take like an identity as a master in order to quote unquote teach disciple. He absolutely knows there's no teaching, there's no nothing. But because there's local identification and someone identified as a disciple, then there has to be an identification as a master. And there has to be that breaching of the concept of duality that's not true. It needs to be broken down. And it's broken down not only just by, okay, this is the master and we're bowing to the master, so the ego is starting to release because of bowing to the master, but it's also the presence to presence. It's a very, as long as there's not a, like Maharaj says, if you come to the ashram and you're like, I'm not bowing to anyone, and I'll skip the bhajans and go shopping. I just want to come here and get my enlightenment. And by the way, I have 4 other stops as I'm in India. I want to see this master and that master and that master.
Yeah.
And I want to collect mantras from all of them so I can go on Facebook and say I have all the mantras and how my spiritual journey is. So that you're not going, this is egoistic in the most profound sense. When you're truly like, oh, master, Jai Guru. And that's another thing in my daily experience, there's bowing all the time, bowing. Jai Guru, thank you, master. Even parking space. When I get a very nice parking space, I'm like, oh, Jai Guru, thank you, master. And I have a picture of Maharaj in the car.
But you do that for negative things too, right? So
yeah. I mean, sometimes.
Thank you for presenting me something that might stimulate any kind of sense of ego or something. Thank you for.
Mostly, it's just thank you. Like even, for instance, I was taking a shower and I heard this glass fall and bust on the floor, and I was like, oh. So I went outside. And it was only this one thing, and the shards had only gone in this little short area. And I was like, oh, thank you, master. It didn't go all over the whole floor. I can easily just sweep this. Things like this, if you want to say a negative, but it's not a negative. It's not a... You're literally like... Because Maharaj is not in body. Of course, he never was. Because Maharaj is your own self. But... bowing to the master and literally as if Maharaj is here, especially this chai. But it's
well, John, when I was in India, they gave us buttermilk and we got reprimanded if we didn't drink it, and so we had to turn our glasses upside down so they didn't pour it for us, because we didn't really want to drink it. We didn't get any chai, right?
But you were saying about the glass fell, and you thanked the Guru for it not being a
going all over while I was sitting. That's another thing. There's not so much. It's going to sound goofy, but there wasn't like a shock or an impression of glass breaking. I'm brushing my teeth, and I don't even know how it did it, honestly. Something slid off the top shelf and broke. And I'm just brushing my teeth. It goes bang. I brush my teeth. So I finish brushing my teeth. I go and I look, because I know, of course, I have to clean this. And it was only it was one picture frame thing that fell and broke into just little pieces, but in this general area. And I was like, oh, thank you, master. I was afraid it was going to go like all over the whole place and be a disaster.
Well, what that sounds like, it sounds like you identified that it made a difference to you whether it was a big mess or a small mess.
Yeah, because you have to clean up a big mess, and it's glass. You have to be careful you don't cut yourself.
There's still a reference to identification of a particular incident going on. And it has to do whether it's better or worse, whether it's a big mess or a small mess. But that I know that's that's something that's going on in the body and mind. It's not felt.
Well, and I just said, thank you, master, that it's not a big mess.
You know, sometimes
Had it been a big mess, then I would have been usually, that would be a time where I would sit there and concentrate on mantra and allow the glass to be cleaned without the experience of cleaning the glass.
well,
Whenever anything like that type of thing happens, or another example of putting sauce in the microwave and I pull it out too fast and sauce flies all over the whole kitchen. That's a time where I immediately, I'm trained mantra. Okay, now this sauce is clean.
because I know for me, sometimes I'll get upset or more negative over something like that happening. Other times, it won't hardly affect me at all.
There's no happenings. Nothing's happening. Nothing has ever happened. So if I try to take the touch of something happening, it's false. And Maharaj has said, don't fall back into the illusory ditch. As long as you have this body form, there are going to be these various different things that are occurring, but you have to remain with your selfless self. And the more you remain with your selfless self, something happens, glass breaks. Had it been really bad, mantra and clean the glass. And there are many times where different things are happening and it just reverts. Okay, concentrate. Listen to the mantra running naturally. One with the mantra. And then you're not experiencing whatever might have been. You're just going through it without an experiencer or experience.
One incident would be the matter of patience, where that would, you know, be a good thing to remember to do.
But to be patient, you have to have someone there who's being patient.
Right.
To sit and listen to the mantra running naturally just brings you back with your selfless self before you can take the touch. And this happens, I would say, not a lot, but it happens. Something will be like this glass breaking, or trying to think any other kind of things that I can think of. But things like this.
How about patience as an example?
Mantra.
When you
patience, if there's like a long line, let's say you're at Harris Teeter and there's just tons of people, and you would, of course, wanted to get your stuff and go. When you're in the long line, listen to mantra, and suddenly you're checking out because you're not experiencing the waiting. You're not having to be patient because there's no one there that patience could occur to or impatience could occur to. So you just casual. That's the same experience with the metro. You get on at Greenbelt, you get here. Maybe the metro stops and starts and does all sorts of things, but you're from here to here. Ding, ding. Okay, time to get off.